In 1988, Craig Venter joined the ranks at high technology group Altech. Established in 1977, Altech currently boasts an annual turnover of 9.1 billion rand and employs over 5,000 people across South Africa and abroad. Growing alongside the company, Venter was appointed as Chief Executive Officer back in September of 1996, and today still sees him at the helm of this expanding business empire. This is Captains of Industry. Craig, let's start right at the beginning. The early influences in your life. Perhaps you can take us through those.
Yeah, I think early on in life, obviously your parents are major influences in yourself, and in particular, I think in my case, my dad was very influential. I think at dinner tables, kind of in the evening, you'd always hear business in one way or form, where he'd be recounting what he had done during the day, etc. So
you got a taste for business at the dinner table, so to speak, with your family?
Correct, yeah. I think because, anyone that knows my dad as Bill Venter, I think, his whole life has been business. He's 75 years old now, and I must say that his entire life has been dedicated to Altech, and building, a multinational South African local company. And so I think that, yeah, generally every dinner there was some talk of business and there was some influence, and most surely it's helped me tremendously.
You refer to your dad, obviously Dr. Bill Venter, an iconic South African businessman. Has it been difficult walking in his shadow?
I would lie if I said it hasn't. I think the positives outweigh all of the negatives, and I think that's key, and that's a fact. But it is tough, and I guess unless you're in the situation yourself, you probably wouldn't really appreciate or know how difficult it is, because you get all the positive benefits of being able to sponge off his knowledge and his experience and learning on the business and all the rest. But he's a very tough businessman. I mean, he's known to have been very tough, and he's very tough on family kind of principles as well, where he doesn't believe you get anything for nothing. You have to work for what you get. And he had to work, and really came from very modest beginnings with no real family structure behind his family. And he basically had to do it on his own. So with his kids, whether it's myself or with Robbie, he's basically taken the same view that, look, you've got to earn respect, you've got to work hard, you've got to earn your stripes. When you're ready and you've performed, you'll get the right breaks, and you need to do that in your own right, as opposed to being helped by your dad. And he's almost taken that too far. I remember when I got back from America with 4 degrees. I've a Master's in Business Administration, Master of Science, a BCom, and a BA in Psychology. And I came back here and I interviewed here just like any other employee 21 years ago. I started and managed to get a job in Boksburg at one of the facilities, but in a job that, quite frankly, for the first 2 years, I said to myself, geez, I'm sure I'm overqualified for this job. And 21 years later, I'm here, and I can't thank him enough.
How long did it take you to prove your stripes to your father, so to speak?
It's hard, but I must say that over time it comes. Fortunately, I've never had to report to him directly. And again, it was one of the decisions he took, which I think is very good. Like he took a decision 21 years ago for me to interview, just like any other employee coming into the group. I did that. At the same time, I think he's felt that it's probably better that family members don't report to him directly. And I've never reported to him directly. So I've always had other bosses in my career progression throughout Altech that I reported to, and not to him. And he's been very good. I must say, if now in hindsight I look at how he's handled a family business, I only have great respect, and I must say that he made some very, very astute decisions. I think it would have been quite easy, and in many other family businesses, you find that the sons get quite a big job quite early on in their careers without a lot of experience. And basically they battle then to get the respect of the people. You need to know the business, and you need to have earned your own stripes, and I think he's done that.
You mentioned your brother, Robbie Venter. Has there been an inherent competitiveness between the two of you as you've grown up in the Venter household?
I think no. No, in the sense that competitive wet becomes an issue that it's there's only a 2-year age difference between Robbie and myself. He's 2 years older than me, and it's never become a competitive negative, if you will. It's always been a positive competitive kind of spirit. I think what helped us is that we both grew up as tennis players. So we were both Springbok tennis players. So he was 2 years older than me. He played the junior South African championships, and 2 years later I played them. So I kind of felt that I needed to aspire to being as good as what he was. So there was that element of competitiveness, but we ended up then getting quite used to that. And then what I think brought us together is that we left South Africa both as Springbok tennis players, both on scholarships, tennis scholarships, to the best university really in America, which is UCLA for tennis, University of California, Los Angeles. And we then had no family there, so the only family I had was him. And he had me, and as brothers, we lived in a big America, Los Angeles, strange country without parents there, at 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, and we spent 13 years, I spent 13 years there. So I think that we got quite close together over that period of time. Then I came back to South Africa after living in America for a number of years, and after playing the professional tennis circuit for a number of years. I played for 2.5 years, and then decided to do an MBA and a Master of Science, and then I came back to South Africa in the late 80s.
Why did you walk away from your tennis career?
It was quite funny because at the time, I mean, I played tennis since I was 4 years old. Tennis was everything to me. I went to UCLA in America not to get a business degree. I went to become a professional tennis player. And quite frankly, I did pretty well at university. I did well in the juniors. I was ranked 5th in the world as a junior tennis player in the world junior rankings. And that's not patting myself on the back or anything, but what actually happened then is I finished my university studies and then turned professional. And I just wasn't good enough. I mean, even though I was 5 in the world as a junior, the step from being junior to kind of competitive to professional is a huge step. And if you look at the tennis players today and how good they are, I just ended up playing for 2 years. I did average, and quite frankly, after 2 years, I just decided, you know what, I'm not good enough. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I don't want to be a tennis pro at some club. I need to do an MBA and do a Master of Science and try and make something of my life from a business perspective. But it was a hard decision.
Being so passionate about tennis, did that feel like a failure at that point in your life?
Yeah, it did a little bit, because you've been playing since you were 5 years old. You're a Springbok tennis player. You've represented your country. You've played professionally. And you know, kind of, yeah, you kind of feel, look, you know, maybe I failed in this. But I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it in the sense that, look, you know, I was still young enough. I needed to do a master's in business, and I wanted to pursue a business career. And I decided that early enough, and I'm very thankful that I did. And it's paid dividends. And I think if I had to look back now, that was one of the, you know, people say you have 2 or 3 crossroad decisions in your life, marriage, you know, something like this, career. And I made the right decision. I wasn't good enough as a tennis player, and as much as it gave me a great appreciation for the world, I traveled all over the world, I met great people. I think I grew up and matured quite quickly at a young age because of the tennis. But if I have to look back now, it was the right decision, and it was great.
Were there lessons that you've taken from the sporting arena, from the tennis court, that you can employ in the business environment?
Yes, I think any sportsman will tell you. I think there's quite a close kind of link to business. I believe so, and in my case, definitely so. I think that the competitive environment in sport is very similar to the competitive environment in business. So I think it has helped, and it's been very good. I think what's been equally good, quite interestingly, is I did a BA in psychology. And a lot of people at the time, and you know, but psychology actually helps you a lot in business as well.